Touring sprint car drivers get laps elsewhere with rainouts. Tim McCreadie is so back. And as some sprint car teams push rules boundaries, it's important to remember what they say about rules. Let's go. It's Monday, May 19th. I'm Justin Fiedler. This is DIRTRACKR Daily presented by Kubota Genuine Parts. If you're a Kubota equipment now or you just want to be in the future, then you're going to need the myKubota app. It's an essential tool for managing your equipment effectively and efficiently. With things like real-time monitoring, they've got maintenance reminders, diagnostic alerts. myKubota streamlines operations and helps prevent breakdowns. You can also access helpful Kubota resources such as maintenance schedules and manuals. You can investigate fault codes. You can get help with step-by-step guides and watch video resources to get the most out of your Kubota machine. And if you need parts or service, you can quickly locate the nearest dealer to your current location. It doesn't matter whether you're doing construction, maybe you've got a big agricultural operation, or you just use Kubota machines around the house. Take control of your equipment and streamline your workflow today with myKubota. Download the app and experience the difference. You can find the app in the Google Play or Apple App Stores. You can click the links below in the video description on YouTube, or you can scan the QR code on your screen. We'll start today off with a little bit of a discussion about rules. I know many of you saw that before Ransomville on Friday during the high limit drivers meeting, competition director Mike Hess made it a point to say that all watches are now illegal with the series. Toby Balboen from Sprint Car Hub is here in the US right now, and he shared to social media that Hess said that going forward, they are not legal, and that if drivers are caught with them, they will be disqualified. He said it's too difficult to discern what device is and isn't for health purposes. And it was a great catch from Toby, and I know several of you saw this. It kind of made the rounds on social media. And just for disclosure, I did text Hess last week about Rico Abreu's watch following that Kokomo win, but got nothing but crickets back. At least he's still speaking to guys like Jeremy Elliott. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, a bunch of folks were up in arms following the Monday High Limit show at Kokomo last week when Rico was spotted wearing a watch post-race. We heard from Jeremy Elliott that Rico had prior approval from Hess directly to wear the watch because it did not have communication abilities. Obviously, now that approval has been rescinded, the High Limit rulebook does have a provision for smartwatches, and it mentions Wi-Fi, cellular, and satellite devices being illegal, along with, obviously, phones. There were a lot of comments from folks saying Rico should have been DQ'd, but you can't go back and do that retroactively if you had given him permission to wear the watch ahead of time. As I said the Tuesday after that, it probably just makes sense to ban all wrist wear, regardless of what it looks like or does or doesn't do, and that's what High Limit decided. I do think a key point to remember in all of this is it's not what the rules say, it's what they don't say. In this case with Rico, if it wasn't a smartwatch and instead technically a fitness tracker, then it could be argued that it was legal under the way the rule is currently written. It likely had Bluetooth connectivity, but Bluetooth not mentioned in the High Limit rules as banned. Hess originally ruled it legal, but I'd venture to guess he changed his mind based on the public and private reactions that we saw in the aftermath. And it seems as though the interpretation of rules like this is becoming a key point in sprint car racing. Because of various factors like the ever-shrinking box that teams are in and the challenges of this current iteration of Hoosier tires, some teams and crew chiefs, they're just pushing boundaries. We know that Paul Silva's 57 and a few other teams showed up to the Knoxville Outlaw races a few weeks ago with aero bits that were deemed illegal by outlaw officials. Talked about it right here on the show. Were they aero parts or underbody protection? That was the sticking point. The Outlaws decided they were for aero and didn't allow them, and Knoxville added a rule change about it to also ensure it was clear that they were not allowed. Silva, though, seemingly undeterred, appeared to have brought at least some of those parts and pieces to Texas Motor Speedway with High Limit just a few days later. There is a photo online of the 57 in the pits at Texas with what looks to be those parts added. Although it's unclear to me if they were actually used on track, I can't find photos or video where you can clearly see them. If Hess did allow them, that would be yet another rules divergence between the two national tours this year. Another example is the in-car shock adjusters that are allowed by High Limit but not allowed by the Outlaws. But even if they were disallowed by Hess, Silva clearly not deterred from at least trying it out in the face of getting rebuffed by the Outlaws in Knoxville. The two series rulebooks are incredibly similar, in some places word for word the same, but Hess doesn't seem to be afraid to make decisions that differ from the Outlaws. Wrapping this all up, I have a hard time being upset at Rico over the watch, or really Silva or any other crew chief for pushing the boundaries. It's not like they were trying to hide it. The worst thing officials are going to say is no if you approach them about something like this. But if a guy like Silva is able to hit on something, it's likely worth the effort, even if you can get a win or two before the series then decides later on that it's banned. Not that the 57 really needs any car advantages, given they have Kyle Larson in the seat. It makes me wonder what other areas teams may venture into, though, that were previously thought to be settled, because as I said earlier, it's not what the rules say, but what they don't say. Last night at Bedford Speedway, Tim McCreadie again reminded us what he's capable of when his race car is right. He dominated the World of Outlaws late model feature, leading all 35 laps, and just flat driving away from Bobby Pierce towards the end. T-Mac was involved in a crash the night before at Marion Center, and it took a big effort to get that car put back together for Sunday at Bedford to even race. But the work paid off. McCreadie hadn't won twice in 3 series starts since he did it with Lucas back in 2022, but that happened over a nearly 2-week span, not a 3-day span. With as good as Pierce is, I don't think McCreadie could really get into the championship fight with the Outlaws. He's pretty far back. But the last several races have shown that the decision to switch to Longhorns and the decision to go Outlaws were pretty much the right ones. We now won't see the Outlaws again for a month as Lucas and Eldora and some other events take center stage. The break seems like it's come at a very good time for Tanner English, though, and the Coltman Farms team. That 96 squad has had issues in recent weeks with hurting engines, and English was actually in a different car last night. Jim Bernheisel offered up his laser chassis machine to English to stay rolling in the points. English then had a flat in the feature and finished 21st, but hopefully these guys can get their engines back together in time to race the Outlaws again later in June. Other race winners last night included Cale Drake with the USAC Midgets at Sweet Springs. Troy Wagaman fought off Anthony Macri and Danny Dietrich to win at BAPS, while Aaron Reitzel and Cody Hartlaw became best friends. Tim Schaefer was an IRA winner at Angel Park, and I think that might be Michael Dutcher's first wing sprint car win. And Caleb Johnson won for the second week in a row at Huset's after leader Landon Crawley got caught up in a crash with a lap car. Over the last few days, with the Outlaws and High Limit rained out, quite a few drivers made their way to other places to get some racing in. That included Bill Baylog running with the IRA last night. Bill Rose also made his first appearance in a sprint car since Knoxville last June. And guys like Aaron Reitzel and Tyler Courtney, Spencer Baston, Casey Kane, Brett Marks, all of those guys raced in PA. That Saturday night race at Port Royal, where Macri won a thriller over Garrett Bard, had several high-limit guys in the field as they obviously look to get laps before the Weikert coming up next weekend. That one is a lot of money on the line, so clearly you're going to want all the information you can get. That's the show for today. We're making some schedule changes around here, so for at least the next couple of months this summer, you'll likely see daily shows posted much earlier in the day. Don't be alarmed. All is good. And maybe this will work out better. Who knows? Maybe we won't get screwed so many times on breaking news. Anyway, hope you guys have a great Monday out there. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.